My name is Mo and I'm an addict. There's a lot of freaking people in here. And I'm only nervous to introduce her, so it's hard for me to put into words what this woman means for me. She's my sponsor. She's one of my best friends, and she knows more about me than anybody else. And my life is completely transformed. And I know it has to do with the help that she guides me through the steps. An addict told me when I was able to give her medallion one year that she needed me as much as I needed her, and that our relationship is so strong. And she did piss me off for the first time this weekend, but I still love her, and I'm like, So with that, I give you Lucy S.
I'm an addict called Lucy. Lucy. Dang, there are a bunch of people here. Jeez. But that's because they don't know me. Wow. Wow. I have been coming to Ripley, West Virginia for a long time. And I have heard a lot of speakers on Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday morning. And some of them just like ridiculously great speakers. And for a long time, I thought, wow, it would be cool to be able to do that. And not so much in an egotistical kind of way, maybe a little bit, but not so much in an egotistical kind of way. But to have that kind of recovery that makes somebody else want to hear what you have to say. So that being said, I want to express my gratitude for the selection committee for asking me to come here and share my little piddly story tonight. And hopefully somebody will get something out of it besides me. I am wicked nervous. And my face is probably really red right now because I am so nervous. My clean date is July 25th, 1987. Yeah. I share a clean date with my best friend who's sitting right here. A lot of shit happens in 28 plus years. It really does. So much happens in that time that what I remember from my days of using is almost like a different lifetime now. I'm so far removed from that lifestyle and those attitudes and those behaviors that they almost seem like somebody else was living it. But I did all that stuff, and over the years that I've been clean, I've had an opportunity to find a new way to live so I don't have to inflict my pain on anybody else anymore. Yikes. All I know how to be is honest. I don't know if I'm going to be entertaining. I know a lot of people like to hear very entertaining speakers on Saturday night who tell funny anecdotes about their life and make using sound like it was fun. Using sucked ass, by the way. It wasn't always fun. It was almost always dangerous, and somebody almost always got hurt. That's just kind of how it was. So all I can be is honest. I'll tell you what my life is like, what living clean is like for me. Do we really need to get into what using was like? Because who in this room doesn't know what that's like? Anybody? No, I didn't think so. My beginnings and my usings might be a little bit different than yours because my parents never got divorced. My parents never beat me. They never starved me. They always gave me a place to live. They made sure I got an education. They gave me everything I wanted except self-esteem. But other than that, They gave me everything I needed. My parents were from an age where their parents didn't know anything about parenting either. My mother's parents ruled with an iron hand, and my father's parents were such that he never even admitted that he had parents to his children. So I have to assume that it was pretty bad, the way he grew up. So because of that, those things were kind of handed down to me and my siblings. And what that looked like was, do as I say, or I'm going to punish you. For me, that equated to being yelled at. My mom discovered when I was really little that if she yelled at me, it scared me so bad that I minded her. So she continued to do that the rest of the time that I lived at home. And that really had a pretty big impact on me, to have the one person that's supposed to love me the most screaming at me like I'm something defective. Anyway. So it wasn't really a bad beginning at all. The only thing I can equate it to is I was just born fucked up. You know, there was just something wrong with me right from the jump, and things were going to play the way they played, and there really wasn't any other way for it to turn out. Because I didn't have those kind of influences that so many other recovering addicts have, where it made sense to use because bad things happened to them growing up. And I've heard a lot of those stories, a lot of them. And it's heartbreaking to hear stories from people in these rooms that that's the kind of lives that they had growing up, and it makes me really sad. It also sometimes makes me think like I don't need to be here, like I don't belong, because I didn't have that kind of just heinous beginnings to my life. But the real core issues are kind of the same, where I can't remember a time in my life growing up where I didn't think there was something wrong with me. I always felt apart from, I always felt different. There wasn't enough validation available to make me feel like I was okay and was going to give me any kind of long-lasting self-esteem. I don't think it was possible. There was just something miswired in my brain. So that reason alone is why the program of Narcotics Anonymous has worked so well for me, because it's a roadmap back to our true selves, who we really are on the inside, without all the external bullshit that we all get caught up in from time to time. The program of Narcotics Anonymous brings us back to our own light, the light that lives on the inside of us, that radiance that we've come here to bring to each other, that we have to use the steps and the traditions to scrub and scrub and scrub all that grime that has built up on us over time through our using, to get to our true natures, how beautiful all of us really are, despite what we might think we look like on the outside. Those things are just details. They're not really relevant. What is relevant is the beauty that each one of us has on the inside. And I didn't believe that for a long time. For a long time in recovery, I was just like faking it till I make it kind of thing, and listen to everybody else tell me the same stuff I'm saying to you, and like, yeah, sure. But you don't know. But yes, they do. They do know. There's so many wonderful people sitting in this room tonight. And it really is an honor and a privilege to stand up here and talk into this microphone and have all of you, well, most of you anyway, looking at me like I have something important to say. It's kind of mind-blowing, actually. So, of course, I want to provide, because my ego is such that I want to live up to your expectation, that I'm going to give you something that you're looking for here tonight. And I can't make that promise. All I can promise you is what I have in my heart. And hopefully that will be suitable for somebody. So enough of that. I guess the best place for me to start is current events, because I'm really nervous, and if I can do some current events, maybe I can get out of the way and my higher power can move in and do what it needs to do. This last year has been kind of hard. There's a lot of sadness in mine and my husband's life this past year. And sidebar, when I speak about my children, I'm talking about my cats. It seems a little on the silly side for me to refer to them like that, but trust me, I love them as much as somebody else might love their human children. I really do. And I know that seems crazy, and somebody's going to say that's impossible, but not for me. That's my perception of it, and the way I look at it is, once I love something, really, open my heart and love it, it stays that way. It stays loved, and it never stops, and it really doesn't matter what kind of body that being lives in that I've chosen to love. They get in, And this past year, I lost one of them. She had kidney disease, and we had to say goodbye to her in August. And it was a tough time. It was a tough time, especially since one of my other ones has been having a lot of trouble for the last 3 years. And we weren't on the good side of that yet either. Then we adopted another one, another girl, and we had her for 5 months, and I had to return her to the shelter because she couldn't get along with my other guy, and it was like re-experiencing that death all over again. So I've had a little bit of grief going on. As most people who stay alive for very long will, grief will come along, and I've learned in the rooms of recovery how to deal with that. I used to get high because of shit like that and try to run away from those feelings. But now what I do is I cry a lot, and I might eat too much ice cream, and I might make a phone call or two, and I pray my ass off. "28 years of doing stuff, I mean, seriously, there's a lot of opportunity to get through just about everything there is to get through. You guys, I am so nervous up here, I feel like I'm having a freaking heart attack. Hang on a sec.
Raleigh General's not far away.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thanks. That scares me a little bit because I actually did have 3 cardiac events in the last 3 months. Yeah, I just had a echocardiogram and a stress test on Thursday before coming here.
Dial 9-1, just be ready.
9-1, and it's, yeah. No, I'm not kidding, but it's, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'll try to live through this. I told you I was going to be honest, right? Just remind me to breathe every now and then. Seriously, right? What a way to go. For real. Living the dream. Yeah, so this kind of is a little bit of a bucket list sort of thing here. To backtrack to some shit that I was saying an hour ago, about witnessing so many great speakers here and hoping that I had the kind of recovery someday that I'd be able to do this, and here I am. I'm only where I am today because I have a great support network. I have a great sponsor. I have a great grand sponsor. I have great sponsees. And I have a great best friend. And I have a great husband at home who's also in recovery. Who is at home and not here because I come here and he goes to Tar Hollow. And we take those opportunities to do a little bit of a separate recovery kind of thing. And that has been working really well for us. Not because I'm here doing shit I shouldn't be doing or he's there doing shit he shouldn't be doing, but because we respect each other's recovery enough to know that at some time or another throughout the course of the year, you got to get the hell away from each other for a minute. I mean, really, you do. Yeah, yeah, my husband and I met each other in recovery. He had been clean for like 4 years, maybe, and I had just a little over, maybe not even a year yet. And, right, yeah. And to preface, he's 12 and a half years younger than me. So, yeah. Yeah. He was Mike was 22 and I was 34 when we met, and I had tickets for an REM concert, and I had nobody to take with me because I wasn't getting high anymore. So I thought, well, this dude in the leather, he'll probably go. Mike in leather, yeah. So we go to the REM concert in Oxford, and the seats weren't that great. We were like way back, far in the back. But, it was an REM concert. How could it be bad? So we're sitting, and at some point he says, I'll be right back. Okay, I figured the usual, right? So one song goes, he's not back. Another song, another set is over, he's still not back. The concert's freaking over, and he's still not back. What? I go out, he's standing outside smoking a cigarette. What the hell was that, Mike? Well, I was kind of nervous. Oh, shit, okay. So our first date, he abandons me in an REM concert. So I figured, why not marry the guy, right? Yeah, so we will celebrate 27 years this June. And I think him going to Tar Hollow and me coming here had a lot to do with that, to help us get through without killing each other. Man, God, there's so much, that's happened in the last year. Oh, one thing I did want to do is share something that a speaker from a long time ago shared with me. Her name was Blaze. I'm sure some of you remember her. It was way a long time ago. I was first clean, and I was here, and I was staying in one of the dorms. And I don't know how Blaze came to be in there with the bunch. We were all in there kind of hanging, and she was in there too. I don't know if she was rooming with us or just followed us in there or whatever. I don't know. One of her sponsees might have been staying in there. It's hard. I can't remember that far back. Anyway, for some reason we were talking about girls being pretty. And I mentioned that I always wanted to be pretty. And Blaze looks at me, and with a very serious look on her face, she says, "Have you looked in a mirror lately?" I didn't really know what she was talking about. But, 28 years ago, I looked a little bit different than I do now because I was only 34 years old. I wasn't 63 at the time. So I looked a little bit better, and I was skinny and, looked kind of nice. But I think what she was talking about was that inner light that I mentioned before. I don't think she really was talking about what I look like right here. I think she was talking about what I look like on the inside. So I would suggest to all of you, men and women alike, when you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I don't like what I see, look past what you're looking at. Look past the face that's staring back at you. Look into your own eyes and find that light in there. Because this shit right here, this is going to fade over time. Mine has, yours will too. But the light on the inside is not gonna. It's just going to get brighter and brighter and brighter. The longer you stay clean, the longer you work this program, the longer you step up and help somebody else, and you keep showing up, that light's going to get brighter and brighter and brighter. So one day we're all going to walk in here and we will all need sunglasses. It's going to be so bright in here. Really. I mean, and that's our true nature. That's what I kind of been learning about this last year. I just graduated from yoga teacher training. Few of us here have recently done that. I know I don't look like a yoga teacher. I don't know what those are supposed to look like, but I got the paper to prove it. But a big part of what our training has been about has kind of augmented and supplemented our recovery, because we've been talking about spiritual principles and how they apply not just in here but out there too, where the things we learn in here we carry with us everywhere we go. That honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness don't just happen between 7 and 8:30 every day. The majority of our recovery happens when we're not in these rooms. The majority of our recovery happens when we're not being watched by other recovering addicts. Where the rubber really hits the road is what we're doing when nobody else is looking. I can dress nice and do my hair and act like I know what I'm talking about as long as you guys are looking at me. But it's when I walk out that door that it really matters. And I've come to the point in my life where it matters what I think about me. I used to mostly care what you thought about me because I wasn't capable of thinking anything nice about myself. I didn't have the self-esteem that told me that I was even just okay. I didn't have that. Not for a long time. And I needed you guys to validate me, to tell me that I was funny or pretty or smart or short, Mark. And I know. All the things that we all yearn for, I needed all of you to tell me those things because I wasn't able to tell them to myself because I didn't believe it. I grew up believing that I was nothing and that I had no value and I never would have any value. And I needed all you guys to help me find that, to find that value. I still judge myself today because I would like to be something else other than what I am, because I'm still not enough. I still fall short in my own judgment. And even when other people tell me, no, you're perfect just the way you are now, I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. So I still have to come here because I still have more work to do. Like the young man that was up here with 31 years, he still comes. He still needs to be here. And trust me, all of us old fuckers who come up or who keep coming in these rooms, we're not coming in here just for you. We're coming in here for us too. We really are. I haven't seen anywhere in the basic text or any other approved Narcotics Anonymous literature where it says there is a time limit on when we get to not stop coming. You reach this point in your recovery, you no longer have to come because you are recovered. It doesn't say that anywhere, and there's a reason it doesn't. Because the recovery process does not stop, ever. I mean, we can stop it, sure. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be good. We can stop it. But if we keep coming, we keep growing. I think as human beings, our growth process is never intended to stop. Because as human beings, we are by nature imperfect. So there's always going to be something else that we can learn about ourselves, always a place that we can grow. Even the great masters, the great spiritual masters of our time, would probably say that they are not finished growing. Life is meant as a growing process. So it's up to me to figure out what I'm going to do with that and where I'm going to get my lessons. I tried to lead myself for a while. I tried to lead myself in recovery for a while, and man, did I fuck that trip up. That was a mess. But I did it for a little while. It's not recommended. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody to try sponsoring themselves. One of the classic blunders in recovery. The good news about that, though, is I didn't get high. I was spiritually bankrupt, and I wanted to die because my life had no meaning, and I hated myself beyond measure. But I walked into my home group one night, late as usual, and there was a young woman who was already in the process of sharing her story. And you know those times when you walk into a room and you get hit square in the middle of the face with exactly what you need to hear at exactly the right time? That's what happened. And I was at my lowest point in recovery, if you want to call it that at the time. And I was desperate for somebody to help pull me out of the hole that I had gotten myself into. And after this young woman was finished sharing, she went over and was talking to somebody else who's near and dear to my heart. And and I didn't know you very well at the time either. And I'm referring to Noreen. And I walked over to the two of them, and I don't remember my exact words, but basically was, I'm miserable, I think I'm going to die, will you help me? And she said, yeah. And Melissa is still my sponsor today. She started out as my sponsor in Cincinnati. She was still living there at the time. And her lovely husband tragically passed away. And after that happened, she moved back to Connecticut. And when she told me she was going to move back to Connecticut, all those old abandonment issues started coming to the surface again because she was leaving. My sponsor was my lifeline, and she was leaving. I was accustomed to having a sponsor in town. I'd had long-distance sponsors before, and it really wasn't gelling for me too well. And I really needed her to be present. And when she told me that, she was apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry. I know you have abandonment issues, but this is something I have to do. Because she had gone back to Connecticut to make amends to a young man that she had hurt many, many years earlier, and they rekindled their romance, and they were going to get married. So how do you say, oh, don't please don't go? No. So we found a way to make it work. If I had been a newcomer, she probably would have told me to find somebody else that was local because I needed that FaceTime at the time. I really did. But since I had already had a number of years in recovery and I had already had experience with a sponsor who lived out of state, she agreed that, and we'd already done some work together. We'd already been working steps together. She thought, let's give it a try and see if it'll work. And so far it has been. It has been so far. I'm horrible at doing step work. I'll just be honest about that. I'm terrible about it. I drag my feet and put the shit off like you wouldn't believe. I'm a terrible procrastinator. I'm horrible about getting things like that done because I'm just lazy and I want shit to get done like yesterday, but I don't want to be the one that does it, you know? So because of my struggles this past year and because of our yoga training, I decided that it would be a good idea if I picked up a fourth step again. So that's what I've been doing. My yoga instructor wrote a wonderful book about working a fourth step through all the 7 chakras, and I'm not going to get into that because it's unapproved literature, but it's cool. I started using that book, and it's a very in-depth fourth step, and that's something that I need right now. I need that. Yes, at 28 years clean, I need an in-depth fourth step. Yes, I do, and I'm okay with that because I'm the first one to admit that I am nowhere near perfect at work and recovery, and I mess stuff up for myself all the time. I am my own worst enemy. I make some horrible decisions sometimes, and I hurt people's feelings. Sometimes I mean to do it, and sometimes I don't. And I still have to work steps, man. I still have to. And I don't think that's ever going to stop. I don't think me needing to work steps is ever going to stop, because if I need to stop working steps, I'm probably not going to be coming around here anymore. And I really don't like the thought of that because I know what happens when people decide that they don't need this anymore. Man, we've seen a lot of that. God damn it, we've seen a lot of that. Jesus. We just buried a friend of ours who used to come here with us 3 weeks ago. She'd been coming with us for, God, over 20 years. She's one of the road dogs, shared a room and everything, and she died of a drug overdose 3 weeks ago. Prescription pain medications, people. Not a heroin overdose. Prescription pain medications. So this is real, you know. I know there are people who come into recovery, into the rooms, and they don't take it seriously. I know they don't. For whatever reason, they're not ready, or they think they're immortal. This will never happen to them. Don't believe it. Do not believe it. Today is the only day we have. Any one of us can fall victim to our disease. Maybe I just want to go to the boat for a minute and gamble a little bit. Maybe I want to buy, $500 worth of scratch-offs. Maybe I want to do some other crazy shit that leads me right back to the same shit that I did when I got high. Because those things that we start to do when we know we shouldn't be doing them, because they're counterproductive to our recovery, they start to wear on our spirit. If we keep doing that stuff, it erodes our self-esteem. The self-esteem that we've worked so hard to rebuild in ourselves by working the steps and working our asses off, by working the steps with a sponsor, working traditions, working concepts, coming to meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting to rebuild our self-esteem. When we start getting into that old behavior, we start ripping that shit away. And before you know it, unbeknownst to us, we're high again, and we have no idea how it happened. I'll tell you how it fucking happened. We decided that we didn't need this anymore. We let somebody make us mad. We thought it one more time wouldn't hurt. I needed to celebrate. I needed to suffer. I don't know what the fuck the reason is. I get a little passionate about it because it makes me so mad. It really does. It makes me so mad when people have this opportunity. It's free. We don't have to pay anything for it. We just have to put a little bit of effort into it. And the world is ours. The world is ours. And to throw that away, for what? To get high one more fucking time, was it really worth it? Really? No, it's not worth it. Look around. Talk to anybody in here. Talk to anybody anywhere in the world who's in recovery and ask them, what do you do for a living now? What do you do today? What brings you joy today? How do you support your family? Do you have a family? Did you get your children back? Are you able to have your own family? Do you have a blended family? What is it about your life today that is so wonderful? Everybody's got a story about how wonderful their life is now because of the 12 steps. Because of that. I mean, I could bust anonymity all over town about the great things that my friends are doing and point them out to you and say they're doing this and they're doing that. Realize your own dreams. Somewhere about a long time ago, when we were little kids, we all dreamed of something for ourselves. I don't care what it was. We dreamed of something, and that dream brought us joy. It made us feel like we were special. It gave us something to look forward to someday. I'm going to be that. I'm going to do that. And along comes addiction, and we listen to it, and it tells us, well, I'm going to be better than that, and I'm going to do all these wonderful things for you. Meanwhile, it's ripping all of that away until we don't think we can have a dream anymore, because we're just going to end up handing it over to our addiction. So why even have it? That all changes now. That all changes now because of the program of Narcotics Anonymous. And because of our predecessors who laid this program down so many years ago. This is where it's at now. You know, this is it right here. There is nothing else that's going to work for us. Nothing. Our literature says it. Treatment centers, psychiatry, religion, blah, blah, none of that stuff was sufficient for us until in desperation. Important word, desperation, because we all needed that for this to become real. We found each other in Narcotics Anonymous. I didn't find myself in Narcotics Anonymous. We found each other in Narcotics Anonymous. I can't do this by myself. Neither can any of you. I tried to do it by myself, and I messed it up pretty bad. And fortunately, I didn't get high. I know other people who have tried to do it by themselves and messed it up pretty bad, and they did get fucking high, and they died. The choice is kind of obvious. Kind of obvious. Somebody said it earlier, I think, during the presentations, that there really is no greater joy than for a recovering addict to watch a newcomer's eyes light up. We come in here, our souls are practically dead. And we're like zombies, and we're mean to each other, and we're just trying to get over and take whatever we can because we're afraid. We're so afraid. And we don't realize that we're afraid. We just think we're badasses. And some of us are kind of proud of ourselves because we think we're badasses. And then we come in here and these big burly bikers are like hugging each other and crying and shit. and hard asses like Blaze are telling their story and crying on some random newcomer's bunk about shit. I mean, I don't know. To see all that happen is really quite miraculous. Watching a newcomer get this. It's kind of a rare thing. I mean, it doesn't look like it because there's a shit ton of people in here, but watching a newcomer, watching the lights come on and that spark reignite, and knowing that something got through that concrete exterior to touch that marshmallow interior again, and to really start to bring that sweetness out of that person again, to help them start feeling like they're actually human again. It's really quite remarkable and something to really see and experience. One of the things that's been really important in my recovery has been my search for a higher power. Not that my higher power was lost, because it wasn't. I was. But that journey has changed for me a few times over the last 28 years. My first sponsor, she and I didn't really touch a whole lot on that. My second sponsor and I did. And my first real concept of a higher, because in the beginning I just kind of faked it. My first real concept of a higher power was George Burns in the movie Oh God. I know a lot of you in here are too young to remember that, and that's okay. Google it. George Burns, that character was the personification of my higher power. And that worked for me really well. And my sponsor and I talked about that, and she came up with I think it's an acronym for the word George. It's give everything, on return, get everything. And I thought that was pretty freaking profound, actually, for a movie character, you know. But I still love that movie today, and anytime it comes on TV, I watch it, and I think about her. And my first foray into the search for a higher power. Over time, it has shifted somewhat, and it's completely different now. It's completely different now. I never was one to embrace the word God. I still kind of feel weird saying it. I'm cool with higher power. But where I am now is kind of light years away from where I was in the beginning, and my higher power has a different name now. And my spiritual leaders have given me permission to talk about this because it's so profoundly important to me. And I don't recommend this to anybody else. I don't tell anybody how to do anything spiritual in their lives. It's up to each individual to find their own path. I go to sweat lodges, and I pray in a language that I can't even speak, and I sing songs of gratitude and love and devotion. And I sit with women around a circle of hot rocks, and I sweat, and I sit on the ground, and I tell my higher power how much I love it, because I do. This has been such a profoundly moving experience. I know I've said profound a bunch of times, sorry. This has been such a moving journey for me, and I have a lot of people to thank for that, and some of them are here this weekend, and some of them are not. But it was something that I came upon through others in the process of recovery. And my husband started on this path quite a while ago, and it was not a path that was attractive to me, and I've never been one to be drawn to something just because somebody else is doing it, especially a spiritual path. And he was not insistent that I follow him. There was no reason for us to follow the same path just because we were married. That's how life has been for us forever. So he would do his thing and I would do mine, which was basically nothing as far as the spiritual path went. And one year, he decided that it was time for him to do a vision quest. Google that if you don't know what it is. And he asked me to participate in that with him, and part of that participation required me to participate in a sweat lodge. Okay, whatever. I wasn't into it, but I'll do it, sure. Mind-altering, mind-blowing, heart-opening, what the fuck just happened? kind of thing, you know? And it was, you know when something happens to you and you never really looked for it, and it just like, boom, falls on your head, and you're like, total mind bomb, and like, that's exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. That's what this was like for me. And my higher power, whom I choose to call Tlankashla, which is Lakota for grandfather, has been immensely generous and kind to me and the people that I love. And FYI, this is a program of attraction, not promotion, so do not think for a second that I'm promoting this, because I'm not. I'm merely telling my story, and you don't have to listen to this part if you don't want to, that's okay. This part of my journey has been and continues to be of paramount importance in my life. Everything surrounds this. This is the center of everything for me. It's the center of my step work. It's the center of my healing work. It's the center of yoga. It's the center of my friendships. It's the center of everything. Everything. And I used to be a fringe player when it came to spiritual practices. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Yours sounds good. I'll use yours for a little while. Yours sounds better. Now I'm going to use yours. I'm going to mix the two together and see what comes up. I never really had what I consider to be an understanding, considering that, you know, the great mystery is just that, a great mystery, and us being puny-brained human beings can't really comprehend. But in my higher power's infinite wisdom, I am allowed from time to time to feel that grace that only Spirit can provide. And it has been life-altering for me. It has. And I thought I had a lot to learn before. This just opened up a whole new, like, encyclopedia of you don't know anything. Really. But I'm cool with that because I have people who have embraced me in this journey and who are willing to take me by the hand and guide me down that road. Not just tell me what to do, but show me, like we do here. I'm not just going to tell you what to do and then go do something else. I'm going to show you how I live, what I do, and if you want what I have to offer, then you're welcome to have it. If you don't, then you can go and find something else, and that's okay. There's so much opportunity through the process of recovery. Man, I can't even begin to tell you how much opportunity there is. But there ain't going to be any if you decide to get high. You're going to piss all that shit away if you decide to use. How am I doing on time, Alan?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Okay. All right. I don't want to bore anybody, so I don't want to go on too long. It's been an amazing journey so far. And if something were to happen and I were to leave this world tomorrow, it would have been worth it. I still have a lot more things that I want to do because I still feel like I don't have much to offer. I put high expectations on myself, and I have trouble setting goals because I don't believe I can achieve them. That's the reality for me. But I know goals are achievable because I see you guys doing it every day. I see it happening around me every single day. So if I keep coming around, if I keep coming back to Ripley, West by God, Virginia, or meetings in my hometown or meetings other places, and I stay where I know I belong, like I talked about in Just for Today, then I can watch you guys live your lives and achieve your goals, and I know because I'm just like you, I can do it too. Because I am just like you on the inside. I look different on the outside, but on the inside, we're pretty much all the same. Suffering, broken children who are looking for salvation, for love, to realize and reconnect with the light on the inside of us. So in closing, I'm going to sing you a little song because I like to sing. And if you know the song, I want you to sing along with me, okay? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Namaste.